shop and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt from inside the Cafe Kubal studios. So happy to be here with you where sports meets that thing called life. And we are Wake Up Call OTR, which is the hashtag that I use, hashtag Wake Up Call OTR, aka Wake Up Call on the road, because we are in the New York City area, and I am ecstatic about everything that we're going to be able to do here, covering the ACC tournament and the Big East tournament, and from afar covering the American Athletic Conference tournament, which is happening in Texas. So 3 tournaments, 1 week, all here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, with coverage from all of them, which I'm ecstatic about. So happy to be at Madison Square Garden and the Barclays Center as well. And of course, for tournament week, we got some awesome stuff coming up. So on today's broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, I want to thank Cafe Kubal for all that they do to give us such an amazing experience by going into any one of their locations, 3501 James Street, as well as 401 South Salina Street, both in Syracuse. You can find them as well on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse for their drive-through location. And you can find them on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, with the giant behemoth of a brown stripe building. I call it the Manlius Welcome Center. You can find it out there with a whole new area for parking, which is fantastic. So make sure you head out there today and enjoy that. And of course, big ups and a big thanks to all of the wonderful people there at Cafe Kubal. And I do want to also tell you about their location inside of Galisanos Children's Hospital. And you can get Cafe Kubal by going to PB&J's Lunchbox. You can pick up my famous nachos. They're my Central New York nachos that are available exclusively at PB&J's Lunchbox. You do a fantastic job of bringing my nachos that I make at home to life. And those are there for you on the menu, as well as so much more, including Cafe Kubal Coffee at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. So, with that being said, inside of today's broadcast, we have 4 fantastic guests and a segment that you know all too well that will be jam-packed into today's episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here inside of True March Madness, inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. We'll start the show off in just a few minutes with Syracuse Orange Basketball alum Eugene Waldron, who will be joining the show to speak with me about the Garden, to speak with me about Kadari Richmond, to speak about coming from this area of the beautiful New York State, and of course on the current state of Syracuse basketball. Then we'll jump into a video special with Levell Sanders, the head coach of the Binghamton Bearcats men's basketball team. Levell and his team are alive, very much alive, inside of the America East tournament as part of their Final Four of the tournament, and whoever wins will get an automatic bid to the Division I NCAA men's basketball tournament. Levell will be taking on Vermont with his team, and before that happens, he's joining us for a video special here this morning around 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Then we'll jump into a conversation with Miss Mary Grimes, who will be joining me as her team was selected as an at-large bid from the Moyne College Dolphins Ted Grant Court. And so much more going to be happening for the Lemoyne Dolphins. I'm very excited for them and the fact that they have more life in the NCAA Division II tournament as a 6th seed inside of the East Regional. So Mary will be joining me for a very special edition of Dolphin Dive, which you're typically used to seeing on Wednesdays. She'll be joining me today to celebrate the news. And then a never-before-heard conversation between myself and Atlantic Coast Conference Commissioner Jim Phillips will be coming your way. And it's so much more than sports. You don't want to miss a second of that. And then we'll round out the show as we always do with the ingredients to success, proudly brought to you by Avicolli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, with an all-new topic and its ingredients. So a lot of great stuff coming up here where sports meets life, and we appreciate you being here from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. So with that being said, we'll take a step aside for a fast break and come back with Mr. Eugene Waldron right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, and thank you for hopping out to Cafe Kubal and all of our fantastic partners here in Central and Upstate New York.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. We are on the road and having some fun here where sports meets that thing called life, as we are in the New York City area, in the Brooklyn area. BK and Madison Square Garden will be my home for the next few days, and so will the Barclays Center for the Big East Tournament and the ACC Tournament, respectively. So with that being said, I proudly bring in friend of mine here and the alum of Syracuse Orange Men's Basketball, as well as somebody who knows the area that I'm in all too well, and that is Mr. Eugene Waldron. Gene, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good. It's a little cold up here. Syracuse, snowing a little bit, and I'm sure it's cold down there, but we got some snow up here.
Yeah, you know, I heard you guys got snow. We just had the snow melt up in Syracuse, and then I ran out of there before it came back. So how bad is it?
Lucky you.
How bad is the snow right now?
It's not too bad, but you know where I live up in that high elevation, we get a little bit more than normal.
Yeah, so Gene Waldron here with us hanging out inside of the Cafe Kubal studios where sports truly meets that thing called life. Gene, for you, you know, bring me back into where you grew up and just, you know, what your digs were down here, because I know that, you know, obviously for you, and your connection to this area, it's such a beautiful thing. So I'd love to learn a little bit more. You know, you're from Long Island City, so bring me into that.
Well, you know, I grew up in Long Island City. The housing projects, Queensbridge Housing Project, which is probably the largest in America, 96 buildings, and the competition was fierce. I mean, you could go on any block and have some stiff competition because we had so many great players in that community in Long Island City. And then, you know, obviously, I branched out a little bit, played in uptown in Manhattan and played with the Gauchos. Got the opportunity to travel a little bit with that team. But for the most part, you know, my housing project, again, Queensbridge Housing Project, we had some of the greatest players to ever step foot. You know, Ron Artest was there. You know, I can go on and on. Dwayne Washington, Ronnie Williams. These are all a lot of guys. Phil Smith, Vern Fleming, you know, who played for the Pacers, got a gold medal playing with the Olympics. I mean, these are all the guys that come from my community. We had some great skill in that community, and it was a great thing because it helped me to be able to come the player that I was able to become and able to go to Syracuse. But New York City always had some great stiff competition. You had to have your game. If you didn't have no games, they would let you know.
And you talked about, all those amazing names and, Pearl Washington, obviously yourself, you brought up Vern Fleming, Ron Artest, just what that means to you to look back at Long Island City and know that not only, not only talented basketball players, but some of the best and some champion basketball players, just what that means to you when you reflect on that, to know from Long Island City that there was such a place where the world was affected from this one area so much.
I always win that debate because of the great players of where I come from. So I'm always going to win that debate with anybody. But obviously you have some kids, some players that came from Jamaica, Queens, and Brooklyn, like you said, Pearl. But, when you say where some of the really great players came from, some of the really good ones, I think Queensbridge would always rank up in the top 5. No question. And that's not bragging, but it's just the truth.
Yeah, and for you, Gene, why do you, when you say that, when you talk about all of the fantastic players that have come from the boroughs, that have come from, Long Island City where you were, when there's so much talent that's here in the state of New York, what makes you believe that, where you were was truly the best? And like you said, you'll win that argument every time because there's amazing players that continue to come out of these areas.
Well, I think for me, and you know my story, I think for me, because coming out of the housing project, the struggle was real. There was some real struggles in the community. And, we always bonded together and try to do the best that we could do to be better people. But it wasn't easy, so that's why I say I would always win that debate, because the struggle was real in the community. There was a lot of things that, went on in the community and you had to stay away from, and it wasn't always easy for a lot of people, and I could talk about some people that didn't make it, but were better than some of the guys that I mentioned in terms of ability to play basketball. But the one thing about our community, we always bonded together. We always stuck together. And I think that was one of the great things about Queensbridge housing projects, that we always stuck together.
Yeah, and when you go back to that time in Queensbridge housing projects, and like you said, sticking together, and some guys were even better than the ones that you mentioned, but they didn't make it. Just how, basketball becomes life in a lot of these areas, in housing projects. It gives you something to do. It gives you something to focus on. And like you said, there's other things going on that aren't the greatest and aren't the safest. So how did basketball, help to save lives around you, maybe even save your life?
Well, I think one of the biggest things was, you had to look at reality. My parents couldn't pay for me to go to college. Basketball was a way out. It was something that kept me busy, and it kept a lot of us busy in the community. And it was something that you always enjoy doing. And, it wasn't just, it was the guys before us. There was guys before me, Vern Artest. There was guys before us that had some serious struggles, but they still got on that basketball court and they paved the way for us to say, well, hey, this is some of the things you don't want to do, even though I'm on that court and they're doing their thing. These are some of the things you want to stay away from. So some of the younger guys, the older heads before us, paved the way for us to understand that, you know what, you could get a scholarship to go to college. You can be that good. But there's a path that you have to take.
And speaking here with Eugene Waldron, Syracuse Orange men's basketball alum, how did you become that good? You know, with everybody trying to rise up out of the Queensbridge, you know, projects and whatnot, and to have an opportunity, not everybody gets one. So how did you get there? What would you attribute to your success of being able to be one of the players that was able to rise up and have an opportunity to go play college ball and to get a free education and an opportunity for, you know, you and your family that you wouldn't have had without basketball?
Well, I think the one thing I realized that, you know, if you don't put the work in, you're not going to get better. I think another thing was I always wanted to prove that I can be good, but I just had to put the work in to be good. And there was a lot of opportunities there for me to prove myself. And I think one of the biggest things is that I always played against the older guys. I mean, I was one of the youngest playing against some of the older guys. And it's funny, I became a point guard because when I played with the older guys, it was like, you better not shoot. You just better pass us the ball. So that's how I truly became a point guard, because when I was playing, they told me, don't shoot the ball. You just better pass it to us. And I had guys coming to me, like grabbing my shirt, like, look, if you don't pass me the ball, there's going to be a problem. I'm like, well, there's four guys and me. I mean, I can't pass it to everybody all the time. But I think that was one thing I think that really helped my game. That these guys was like, look, this is what you have to do. If you want to play with these older guys and you think you're that good, these are the things you have to do. And it worked.
Yeah, you know, and like you said, going back to those moments and having somebody tell you, like, hey, this is what you got to do, you know, and this is how you evolve, this is how you get there. Who would you attribute to your, you know, who would you attribute some thanks to your success? Like, who do you want to thank in, you know, in the Queensbridge projects and maybe some of the surrounding areas and different things you got to do as you were coming up? Who would you really reflect upon and say, hey, you know what, these are some of the people that I really want to thank for making me better?
I think, you know, when you as you were saying that, there was like two people that came to mind. And it was my fifth grade teacher, Mr. Ratner, and his wife, Mrs. Ratner. He passed away not too long ago, but Mr. Ratner was like, he saw something in me that I used to didn't see in myself, and I'm only in the fifth grade. And he used to be at me all the time, in my face, to do the right thing. And you know, and a lot of times there's a lot of people in Queensbridge, and you'll say, who's the best teacher in PS 111? Who was the best teacher that you ever had? And I would guarantee you, 99% of the people would say, Mr. and Mrs. Ratner. These people, they were unbelievably awesome, great, always looked after the kids. Even though there was struggles, there was like, look, get over the struggles. You have to move. You have to get better. And Mr. Ratner he stayed after me. I mean, he used to be in my face every day because I was hard-headed. I ain't gonna lie, I was hard-headed. But he used to stay after me, and his wife, they stayed after me and say, look, there's certain things that you can do. And to this day, although he's passed away, I stay in touch with his wife. And we've been great friends for I don't know how many years, but I have to contribute a lot of what's happened to me and my good things in my life was because of them, you know, at an early age, because they started me off the right way.
Coming from Eugene Waldron here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Kubal Studios, the importance of having good people around you. And Gene, I know, and I gotta shout her out, you know, your wife, speaking of good people around you, I know she's been your rock. I know she's there for you. I know she cooks some amazing things. I got to give you a shout out for cooking her breakfast this morning. But what can you say about your wife and how she has helped to establish the Gene Waldron that we have today?
Well, you know, Dan, I think one of the biggest things that a lot of people I don't know if they don't appreciate. I know I didn't appreciate when I had a good thing. And when I was having some really serious struggles, which you know about, I mean, she never gave up on me. Never gave up on me. And like I said, Mr. Ratton and Mrs. Ratton, they saw things in me. And my wife, I mean, she saw things in me that I didn't see in myself, but I think the one thing that will always stay with me, she's like, I can't help you if you don't want to help yourself. And that's something that I kind of live by now. It's like, if you don't help yourself, how do you expect somebody else to help you? Because being that athlete, with all the accolades and all the stuff that comes with it, you get this, you get that, you get this, and you think everybody was just supposed to give you everything. My wife was like that. She's like, there's a certain way that you have to live. And, and it's been a struggle, and there was struggles, but she stood by me, and I got to respect that, and appreciate all the things that she's done and have been by me through a lot of the hardships, because I've had some. People think, and it's funny because people should always say to me, oh my God, Gene, you got that smile. I was like, and I used to say to myself sometime when the game was over and I wasn't playing tomorrow, that smile was some serious pain. But you know what? You get through things, and without her, I don't think I would have been able to do it.
Yeah, and Gene, you hit the nail right on the head. You said, that smile, behind that smile was some serious pain, and that nobody truly knows what you're going through. Just what you would say to the world today about the fact that, you pass somebody on the street and you really never know what they're going through.
Well, you know what? That's the thing. You never know what somebody's going through until you experience it. When you experience some of the pain that other people go through, then you don't really talk. You don't need to talk too much about it, because everybody has a story. I don't care who you are. Everyone has a story, good or bad. Everyone has a story. And, getting through that is really important, for yourself. And like I said, I worked out this morning and it hit me. I was like, man, what? The struggle is real. It is so real. But a lot of people don't understand how serious it is until you go through it. And I'm just, I guess I'm a little blessed that, I have somebody in my life, like my wife, who she sticks by me. Because I ain't the easiest person to get along with. I'll tell you that right now.
That coming here from Gene. Gene, before I let you go, you and I are going to be doing a very special, and this is why I tell people to watch and listen live, because you're the ones that get to hear it first. Gene and I, this Selection Sunday, no matter what Syracuse's fate is, Gene and I will be at Pizza Man Pub around 5:15 p.m., and so the selection process starts at 6 o'clock. Gene and I are going to be there around 5:15 p.m. going live. We're going to give our thoughts on the Syracuse season. We're going to unpack a lot of things. I'm sure we'll have plenty to do before 6. And then we'll be unveiling the bracket to you, and to some of you that are out and about will be the place for you to find out who's playing where and when. So, Gene, just as a little prelude to that, just what you want to say about the Syracuse Orange men's basketball team this season.
Well, it's been an up and down season. There's no question about that. It has been an up and down season. I mean, there were some games you think, wow, these guys look really good. And then there were some games that you think, how did they lose the game? But again, that's sports. And I think a lot of fans kind of look at them and think, oh, they look at Jimmy and Buddy and think, oh, well, that was their team. No, it wasn't. It was a full team. I mean, those guys had to do a lot of work, and Jimmy and Buddy had to do a lot of the work. But I think it was an up and down season for them. I mean, all things considered. And the game has kind of changed a whole lot now. And when you look at a lot of the top teams have so many athletic players, where I think Syracuse lacked that a little bit. they lacked some of the athleticism that they needed to win some of these basketball games. Because, and then again, some of the guys had to play so many minutes. Come the second half of these basketball games, maybe they might have got a little tired, but for the most part, I bleed orange, and I stick by those guys, win or lose, because I know it's not easy, and it's not easy, and I know how the Syracuse fans could be. You just have to take the good with the bad and keep it moving.
And I'm down here covering the ACC tournament and the Big East tournament simultaneously. I have the opportunity to see Kadary Richmond, who left Syracuse for Seton Hall. I know that was what'd you say?
Playing really well.
And I know that was a heartbreaker for you. Pearl, up in heaven, wasn't here to give his thoughts on it, but I would imagine he'd feel similar to you. It broke, I think it broke your heart a little bit when Kadary left, because like you said, coming from Queens, coming from Queensbridge projects and all of that, and coming from this area in Long Island City, players from Brooklyn, players from the Bronx, when they go to Syracuse, they stay at Syracuse. There's a pride thing with Pearl. There's a pride thing with you. There's a pride thing with guys in history that came to SU from this area. So, do you think that Kadary is the one that got away? And, what's your take on the fact that he is doing so well outside of Syracuse?
Well, I'm just happy that he got the opportunity that he deserved. I think playing at Syracuse, I don't know what the situation was, but for me, I think he should have had a little bit more of an opportunity to show what he can do. And I think he did it at times, and there was times that it didn't work, but so be it. I mean, he's human. But I think now he's shown and is showing that, he's a quality player. And I would bet to believe that he probably won't stay 4 years, because I think what I've seen of him, he's that good right now.
Coming from Eugene Waldron, we're going to have plenty to talk about this Sunday, 5:15 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be on site, on location, at Pizza Man Pub on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville. Come out and see us, grab some pizza, grab some wings, and enjoy our live broadcast as we get you set for March Madness Selection Sunday, this Sunday, March 13th at 5:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Gene, as always, I appreciate you. I'm thankful to have you on the show today to talk about so many things bigger than basketball, as we always do, and I'm very much looking forward to unpacking the season and everything with you this coming Sunday, March 13th, over at Pizza Man. So looking forward to it. Go ahead.
I've been at Pizza Man a couple times. They know me pretty well. They know me pretty well there.
Yeah, they said nothing but good things about you, which I would expect no less. And I know that we got to make sure that Gene gets his wings, and we'll get them all set up and ready to go.
Got to get those wings. Got to have the wings.
So we'll make that happen. And Gene, as always, my best to you. Thank you for everything, and thank you for being a friend more than anything over the years. So I'm happy that you have fought the good fight. I love your story because it's a success story, and I'm so proud of you every single day. So keep it going. Keep tagging me and all those awesome things that you're doing. I'm always proud of you, brother.
All right. See you Sunday.
All right. Sounds good. Take care. That coming from Eugene Waldron once again on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios as we are on the road. Hashtag Wake Up Call OTR, covering the Big East tournament, the ACC tournament, and the American Athletic Tournament all this week on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. We'll take a step aside when we come back. Levell Sanders joins us for a video special inside of his tournament of the America East, as Binghamton is going to be facing Vermont this Wednesday, March 9th. That story coming up right after this.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you make your way over to the Millhouse Market every Tuesday through Sunday for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And there's multiple ways to enjoy the Millhouse Market. You can go inside to their indoor dining, where their bistro menu changes every single week for you to come back and try something new on the menu. And, of course, they have their general store with local products from local companies, as the Millhouse Market is not only looking to give you all that they have to offer, but to expand it out and pay it forward with other businesses in the area that we care for and appreciate so much, be it local syrups and honeys to local jewelry and soaps and children's toys and so much more, and clothing. So many great things in the general store at the Millhouse Market. And of course, there's their drive-through window where you can grab your food and go. You can go to the Millhouse Market app today to order your food, and you have so many things there on the menu, including the sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski. Ingrained in our community and ingrained in our taste buds, the Millhouse Market is second to none. And that Millhouse Market app on the Google Play or Apple App Store will have the entire menu for you, as well as directions where you can find how to get to the Millhouse Market from wherever you are. So make sure, whether you're 30 miles away, 100 miles away, or right down the road, head out to the Millhouse Market today. I promise you, it is worth the drive every time.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. You are here with us on Facebook.com and YouTube.com, both /Wake Up Call DT, where you're watching. You're watching on Facebook.com /Live Now DT as well. And you're listening on MixLR.com /Wake Up Call DT and on WakeUpCallDT.com. I am here once again with Levell Sanders, and every time I get to introduce you, Levell, I love the fact that I had that little note that said interim crossed out, and I love that note lived a true life. It was a very short-lived moment for the interim, and I'm happy for that. So the head coach of the Binghamton Bearcats men's basketball team, so happy for you, and so happy that this team is living on another day in the America East Tournament. So welcome back to the show.
Appreciate it. You said the interim tag was short-lived. It felt like forever for me.
Well, what I mean is the time in which I crossed it out and said, here's a note I'm giving your AD, that was short-lived. I think it was like a week or two, but I know for you it probably felt way too long. But once again, congratulations on the fact that the future of Binghamton is in good hands.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So let's jump into the season and just where you guys are alive in the America East Tournament, an opportunity to play Vermont. Just what you can say about how Binghamton is playing this late in the season and what you think you're getting out of the guys at this point.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cliche, right? Everybody say you want to be playing your best basketball at this time of the year. Going into the America East Tournament, I think we lost 3 or 4 games in a row. And so I wouldn't say we were playing our best basketball, but we missed our leading scorer. for 3 of those games or 2.5 of those games. And also, we weren't losing those games by a lot, a big margin. Even playing Vermont, one of those games at home, it was a close game. I mean, we were down 11. I think we had 2 or 3 possessions to get it under 10, and we didn't execute. We didn't get a score, but we were able to defend them pretty well. And so, I didn't think we were playing bad basketball. It was just, we needed, to come up with some timely stops or some timely scores when we didn't. And so, I felt the guys remained confident. I thought we did a good job of keeping the guys confident because, when you lose a few games in a row, it's easy for a team to kind of nosedive and that, that becomes an even longer streak. And so I think the good thing also was that we played against New Hampshire, right before the conference tournament started. So we had a pretty good idea of what they were about. And again, it was a game that we lost by 4 points that we thought we should have won if we would have did some of the things that we were supposed to do. And so, we definitely excited about having an opportunity to play again against Vermont. It's funny, we said during the season that we would play them 3 times. And we didn't know if that was going to be we in a championship game, in a playoff. We just knew we would play them 3 times, and now this is the 3rd time. I thought the first time we played them, we were kind of overwhelmed. The second game, I thought we had a much better chance, and I think now we have a grips on what we need to do to be successful.
Chipping away, like you said, that first game overwhelmed, second game doing some things better. Now a 3rd opportunity. Bring me into the chipping away and how you've learned the behaviors of Vermont, so to speak, this year from those first 2 games.
Yeah, I think, they're very tough in Burlington to play on their home court. They get a great crowd. But I think one of the most important things when you're playing Vermont is they're not going to beat themselves. They're really well coached. They execute. They don't have any kind of great one-on-one players, and they understand that. That's not how they play. They have a real kind of team system. But the other thing I think what we've learned is that, a lot of times because you're playing against a team like Vermont, that's a really good team, and I think you overhelp, right? Like we have guys that can stop their guys one-on-one, right? And so their game is kind of predicated on kind of like a drive and kick kind of situation. And so they want to get 2 guys on the ball, and they do a really good job of kicking it and finding an open man, and they're really good shooters. And so it's one thing we realized. The other thing we realized is that, it's not a good idea to double Ryan Davis, the big guy who I think he's player of the year of the league. Because they are really good shooters, and when you give them opportunity to shoot wide open threes, they hit it at a high percentage. And so we were like, you know what? Let's not double team Ryan Davis. Let's guard him one-on-one and make him be the guy who beats us, but without giving the rest of those guys an opportunity to make wide open shots, which they can do. And so I thought we did a much better job of that last game. And then the other thing is that you can't turn the ball over against Vermont. So we were just talking a little bit off the air. I was saying that we're not going to be speeding the ball up and down the court. We want to get into a position where we can run our sets, execute offensively. You have to play team basketball. They don't let one guy beat them. You have to share the ball. And so those are some of the things that we learned by playing them 2 times already and just having an opportunity to watch them. And over the last few days, I think that, we think we have a really good chance of going in there and being successful.
How did you know? You said that your team said this season we're going to play Vermont 3 times. Why Vermont? Did you believe that? Why?
You played them 2 times in the regular season, and then we thought we would get a high enough seed where we wouldn't have to seed them throughout the America East playoffs, but we can play against them in the finals. And so that's why we thought we would play them 3 times. I said it before that I think we have a group that we believe in, and again, probably not a lot of people outside of our team believed in us beginning of the season, but we thought that we could be good. We work really hard to be good, and so now we're here in this position, and I think we got a opportunity. Just got to take advantage of it. I think that when you go play against teams like Vermont, we played Connecticut early in the year. You play St. Joe's, you schools that are traditionally really good, and they win a lot of games. You number one, you got to be confident. And I think the confidence from us as coaches trickle down to our players. And I know for me, being a former basketball player and having that competitive spirit to want to win and want to play against the best, I always played my best games when I played against better competition or the teams that were supposed to be the really good teams. And so that's how I want to prepare our guys and make them believe that they can compete and play against anybody in America.
And seeing this, speaking here with Binghamton Bearcats men's basketball head coach Levell Sanders, as this team steps forward, you had mentioned the fact that losing some games going into the America East tournament, had lost 3 in a row. You lost 6 of 7 to end the regular season. How did this team take a breath, know that happened, and then go to the America East tournament and let that die? Because that's obviously something where you guys are right now with an opportunity to punch a ticket to the NCAA tournament for Division I men's basketball. You don't get there if you let the end of the regular season beat you again. So how did your staff and how did this team put that away and say, yeah, we lost 6 of 7. Like you said, some of those games, we played close in these games. We did things we needed to do, but we didn't finish or we didn't do this and that. How do you let that die? And how did this team say, okay, you know what? We're not going into this tournament thinking we're one of the low seeds here. We're going to go into this America East tournament to win it.
I think it's actually what you just said. I mean, we go over every game, right? We watch and we break down every game that we play. And again, when you can look at the game and see that, and again, taking nothing away from the teams that we're playing, but you kind of looking at the games and saying you're pretty much beating yourself because you don't do this or you don't do that. I think it's easy for the guys to remain confident. And we're not getting blown out by 20 and 30 where we have no chance in these games. These games are a few possessions. Like I don't know all of the 6 of the 7 games that we lost. But I could probably, other than Vermont, I don't think there was a game where we lost by more than 10 points. And so these are not games where we don't have an opportunity to win. Also, I think our league this year was so balanced in terms of like anybody could beat anybody. I think that's another reason that our guys were able to remain confident is because, they actually can see like, again, Vermont, UMBC, and I think New Hampshire were the teams that we didn't beat this year. But again, other than Vermont, like all of our games against those other 2 teams were really close games. We lose to UMBC on a buzzer beater, but they got, we fouled them with, 0.4 seconds on the clock and they make 2 free throws. We just lost to New Hampshire by 4 points. So these games again weren't games that we had no opportunity to win, and so I thought that was one of the main things that was able to keep our guys confident, in that we can still be successful. We still got a lot of basketball left to play, and like I said, here we are.
And you look at those games against the University of New Hampshire within losing the 6 of the last 7 to end the season. 2 of them were against New Hampshire, 69-60, 66-62, and then you come back and beat them by 3. So you talk about, learning against Vermont and then being overwhelmed in the first game, getting better in the second game, and now you have an opportunity to take care of them. You did that with New Hampshire. So does that help your guys, the fact that you saw that, say, hey, we chipped away at New Hampshire, you just played them 2 games before, you got them again. So there's that little UMBC, there was a UMBC game in between and New Hampshire before that, and then your game against them in the America East tournament. So you had to learn how to go up against them 3 times and you chipped away at them. Does that help you with Vermont to teach the guys and say, hey, we've already figured out how to evolve during the season against good competition?
Yeah, I mean, experience is the best teacher. And again, we just, as you said, we just went through it, right? We went through it with New Hampshire, and again, now here we are with Vermont. And so, again, a little bit different team, but kind of the same kind of principles. And I had said that I thought that it was good that we played Vermont kind of right before we played New Hampshire, because they're kind of the same team in terms of their how physical they are. They both play a physical style of basketball, especially on the defensive end. Of course, Vermont is better offensively, and it really puts a lot of pressure on you defensively. But again, just going back and watching us against Vermont, after the first game, I thought the second game was a much better game from us, and it was home, and we had an opportunity to, as I said, get it to within 9 points. And then again, once you do that, now you got some momentum. But definitely, man, I think that we can look back at that New Hampshire series and say, okay, this is what we did, and now here we are in the same position, and let's attack it the same way.
Knowing that Vermont's the top seed here in the America East tournament and the top 2 seeds are still alive, UMBC as well, does it help you as the 6th seed play loose that, that you guys believe that you can do this, but that the outside looking in average eye is going, oh, okay, Vermont's still in there, they're the number 1 seed. Does that help you kind of play more free to say, hey, you know what? We are the chip on the shoulder. We are the underdogs going into this game, not to us, but to maybe the outside looking in. Does that help your guys kind of relax a little bit more? Because there's 2 ways to look at this. There's walking into this saying, okay, there's Goliath. And then there's another, way of walking into this saying, yeah, but if that's Goliath, we can beat David.
Yeah. So I think that, I've been on both sides of it. And I think once you start playing, I don't know if you really think about that. I think going into it, we can talk to our guys about pressures on them. They're the highest seed, they should win. But I think, once you get into it, pressure's on everybody, right? Because you want to win and you want to advance. And so I think the most important thing is just to focus on what you need to do to be successful. Seeding doesn't matter right now, right? My wife and my daughter, my wife's from the Czech Republic, and how they in the Czech Republic, whatever you finish the regular season doesn't really matter, because once you get into the playoffs, that determines your final seed, right? So my wife was asking the other day, she was like, okay, so you guys won. Now are you gonna finish in like 4th place or 2nd place or 3rd place? And I'm like, no, right now is only the team that finished first is important, right? And so it doesn't really matter, and over in Europe, we play for bronze medal, we play bronze medal games and things like that. So, right now it's just important, not to worry about whatever seed you are. Most important thing is to focus on who you're playing and what you need to do to be successful, and put yourself in position. So, all of the things I think you talk about before, you in terms of seeding and pressure is on this team or that team, I don't think it really matters once the ball goes up.
And for you, when you said that, like for you, that it doesn't really matter about seeding or anything once the ball goes up, do you see that in your guys? Do you see these young men really just let all that stuff die and say, hey, we're going to play our game. We're playing Binghamton basketball. We're not going to let anybody dictate who we are. They're not going to dictate the pace. We're going to go out there. We're going to strike first. Do you see your men have that strong, mentality, that mental toughness right now at this point in the season, a toughness that you said that you had when you were playing as well?
Yeah, I thought we had that in New Hampshire. Like we've been starting slow. Our last few games we've been having some slow starts, but I mean we came out in New Hampshire and we were right on track. I mean we scored our first few possessions. We got a couple stops. And so I think that they do have that. And again, we're not worrying about seeding. We came out and we didn't ever talk about New Hampshire was the 3 seed. We were the 6 seed. We were just saying, we're going to play New Hampshire. We need to do this to be successful. Right? We're not talking about seeding because it doesn't really matter. And so I think our guys do have that. And I'm starting to see that right now, which is, I told them after the game, I thought it was the most I had heard them communicate and talk to each other all season. Like when I was coming to the huddles, normally the huddles are quiet. You might have one or two guys talking, but when I was walking to the huddle, everybody was talking and they were saying we got to do this, we got to do that. Halftime when we walked in, it was the same thing. So I think we're we're starting to find some of that stuff right now that we need, some of that toughness and that grit that you need in at this time of year.
Why is this team evolving right now?
I just think that, because right now, and I said this, when you start the season, there's many different goals for teams. But right now, every team has the same goal, is to survive and advance, to win and to keep playing. And so it's like where everybody's playing desperate, right? And this is what I'm trying to get these guys to understand all year, that desperation you need to play with like it's your last game, right? And now everybody is playing like it's their last game, because it really is, right? It's like if you lose now, the season is over. You got seniors that's not coming back. And so I just think that because of the time of year it just puts everybody in that desperation mode. And I think for us, it's something that we can learn from and kind of bottle it up and take that into next season, because that's how we have to play, not just towards the end of the season. We have a star drill that we do, and it's like a passing drill, it's kind of a warm-up drill that we do. And, it's always when we get down to like that last minute, it's like everybody's going really fast, like, because they're trying to get the highest score, and I'm, again, I always try to explain these guys, like, take that it's a 4-minute drill. So start the 4 minutes that way, and you will break a record. You will put a number on the scoreboard that you can't even imagine, right? But it's like we wait to that last minute, and now we want to go fast, and everybody's really pumped up. But again, I think it's it's kind of the same thing right now. Again, because it's your last game. If you lose, everybody's playing desperate.
Yeah, and I think this is, and this is March Madness. I mean, this is what it's all about. It's about the fact, and I think it's a beautiful thing with having so many conferences in Division I, that there's an opportunity that if you win your conference tournament, you're in, regardless of your record. It's a new season. Just what does that mean to you as a former player and as a head coach, that we have the automatic bid? It doesn't matter what seed you're in. If you win the America East, you're automatically going into the NCAA tournament. Just what that means to you.
I think it gives you hope, right? Like you always just want hope and an opportunity. And so, things that you can control. I talked to the guys early in the year about, like, let's not look back and say, oh, we should have did this, we should have did that, we should have did this and won this game and won that game. Like, let's not do that. We have an opportunity right now to control all of the control. Everything we can is in our hands, right? Like, it's still up to us. We got to go win this game against Vermont, and then we have to win another game. And so when you have hope like that, again, I just think that it puts you in a situation where you want to give everything you have for that opportunity. We always talk about opportunity, and pretty much every game for us was an opportunity to show the league, show people, our fans, like what kind of team we wanted to be, and what kind of team we were kind of gearing up to be. Now here is another big opportunity for us to take another step. And I don't know, it's since 2009, since Binghamton has won an American East championship, but we can control and take advantage of this opportunity that's in front of us now. It puts us in position to play in the American East Championship, which, again, it hasn't been done around here for a long time. And so that's another great opportunity.
Coming here from the head coach of the Binghamton Bearcats men's basketball team. Always happy to have Levell Sanders. Levell, before I let you go here, to speak on the offense of this team, especially most recently in the 72-69 victory. Jake Falco, 21 points in 33 minutes. Bunch of other guys dancing with getting to double digits. Some guys did. Just what you could say about how your offense looks as you step forward. Can it be a different guy every night, in your opinion, at this point in the season? Kind of where is the offense running through, and your take on, I know you said it's a slow start that you guys have had, but just once that offense does blossom, where you expect it to come from, or if it is essentially coming from all different places at this point.
Yeah, we Coach Johnson talks about it a lot and to the guys, and he always talks about balance. And I think the reason why Vermont is such a good team and so hard to defend is because they have balance. They don't have one guy. I mean, they have two guys that made all first team all league, But sometimes those guys are not even their leading scorers, right? And when they play, they can get 4, 5, 6 guys in double figures. I think last game they had 5 guys in double figures. And so, I think we are at our best when we have balance, and we have, Jake is our leading scorer. He's probably going to be our leading scorer for most of the games, but we need guys to follow him and to put themselves in position to be successful scoring. We have guys that can shoot the ball. We have guys that can slash, get to the basket. Most important, I think, is our playmakers. Guys that are our playmakers, they have to make plays for us, and not, I'm always telling guys, when your number is called, when I call out a play and you are the guy that's getting the ball, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to score. That means that you have to be the playmaker. You have to make a great decision. If you're going to be in a position where the defense is going to allow you to score, then do that. But if you're going to get 2 guys on you got to spray the ball to the open player. And so right now, offensively, I just think that, we have to continue to trust each other, share the ball. When we do that, when we share the ball, man, we're so much more effective offensive team. When we get in trouble is when we try to go too much on our own. And I always talk about just doing what the defense tell you. If there's 2 guys on you, the defense is telling you to pass the ball, right? If you're driving to the lane and nobody steps up, the defense is telling you to go score. So when we do what the defense tell us, we can be pretty good offensively.
And speaking on offense, the player Levell Sanders at Seton Hall evolving 6.4 points a game to 12.3 last 2 seasons, just shy of 16 points per game for both of those seasons. You started 86 games. You played in 113 at Seton Hall. Bring me back to those days. And then secondly to that, I'm going to be in the building with Seton Hall at the Garden. So just what I should be prepared for your Pirates.
Yeah, I was just a guy that came in as a freshman. And I remember my first practice, I had a really good practice. And Coach Blaney pulled me to the side after practice and was like, listen, I want you to play that way. I don't want you to come in here and play like a freshman. Come in here and play like you're a basketball player. And so that gave me a lot of confidence. Coming from Brooklyn, New York, and playing against all the guys that I played in high school, I was a confident player. And then I just worked my butt off. I was a point guard in high school, and coming to college, I thought I kind of was being recruited as a combo guard. And so we had 2 really good point guards while I was at Seton Hall. We had Denny Hurley as a point guard my first 2 years, and then we had Shaheen Holloway as a point guard my last 2 years. And so, I didn't never play point guard in college. And so I had to kind of reinvent my game. I started to be a guy that came off screens and shot a lot of threes, didn't dribble the ball as much. And so that was just all of the hard work that I put in kind of reinventing my game, which I heard a quote or read a quote by Billy Donovan, and it said, what got you to college might not keep you or might not put you in the best position to be successful. So it's kind of like, you have to evolve your game. And that's one of the things that I did as a player at Seton Hall. And, I get a chance to watch Seton Hall from time to time. I never get a chance to watch a whole game, but from what I see, man, they are a hard-nosed defensive team. Again, kind of a team that is a real balanced team. It's not just one guy. Again, they got a first-team all-league guy in Roden, but they're a balanced team. They play hard as hell, and they're a confident group right now, and I think they have a really good chance to come out of there and be successful in that Big East tournament.
And there's an irony as well that you're both going to be playing on Wednesday, March 9th, and they are also a 6 seed. So, seeding doesn't matter. It's just about getting into the tournament. Final note here, Levell, just what you want to say to the people of Binghamton for supporting you, being there for you, and for those that are going to try and, brave the elements and travel down there, and those that are going to be watching.
Yeah, just thanks for all the support. I just think that, this year, I'm pretty sure people didn't kind of know what to expect. People really didn't know me as a head coach, didn't really know guys on our staff. And I just think that, from game to game, we just kind of seen the momentum building in our building. We get so many people reaching out to us by email, social media, just telling us how proud they are as alumni. And it's not even about winning or losing. It's about how hard we are playing and how we are representing the university. And so I just want to say thank you for all the support, continue to support. we're still gonna go out there and play hard every night. There's still a lot of basketball left this year, but also next year we're really looking forward to being able to come back and kind of have something established. We kind of laid the foundation now, and now it's time to build on that.
The BK, Brooklyn, New York native, Kadari Richmond, playing for your alma mater of Seton Hall. So you got two Brooklyn Cats, both at Seton Hall. What do you like about Kadari, and is he the one that got away from Syracuse?
Yeah, I mean, I like Kadari. I didn't know much about him. I saw him play his post-grad year, and when he was at Brewster, I think it was. And I like him, man. He has really good size. He can get to the basket whenever he wants. Athletic point guard. Got to work on his shot, but I'm used to Syracuse having those big guards like. When I was playing, I remember, Red Autry and Jason Hart and even Alan Griffin was on the staff now. So I remember Syracuse having those big guards. And so I was a little surprised when he transferred, but he wasn't playing, I guess, as much as he wanted to. And so it looks like he made a great decision. I don't really follow Syracuse much, so I don't really know how they're doing or what they're doing, but I think he's put himself in position to, next year probably be their guy.
And I got to ask you this since I'm here. My grandmother grew up in Brooklyn as well, and she grew up on Atlantic Avenue before they had a giant spaceship, which is called the Barclays Center. So is there a spot or two? What should I do? Where should I eat in Brooklyn? Where should I go? Can you give me any type of a Brooklyn map?
Well, since you're going to be downtown, I would advise you to go to Junior's, get some cheesecake. That's the famous spot that everybody go to. There's a lot of, I'm not really the new Brooklyn. I'm more of the old Brooklyn, where there's a lot of like kind of hole in the wall spots that I would go to in Bed-Stuy or Brownsville. But while you're downtown, I would say go get some cheesecake from Junior's.
That coming from Levell Sanders. Levell and the team, the Binghamton Bearcats, alive inside and well in this America East tournament. They will take on Vermont and the hopes of moving forward to the championship game. Levell, as always, I appreciate everything that you have done. I love your passion. I love that this team is out there fighting, and I look forward to the Bearcats clawing away at another one and talking with you again. So as always, God bless and stay safe, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Dan.
Avicolli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicolli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicolli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to K9 Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We are inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Cafe Kubal on 3501 James Street, 401 South Salina Street, both in Syracuse. You can also find them at the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners at their drive-through location, where I was with our next guest coming up in just a second here. And, of course, you can also find them at 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital. So, make sure you make your way out to Cafe Kubal today and warm yourself up. You can also cool yourself down if you feel the need to. They have everything hot and iced, from their chais and their teas to their coffees, and of course all those fantastic sandwiches and desserts you have to go out and get at Cafe Kubal and go back every single day, because you never know what's going to be in the window. So make sure you hop out to Cafe Kubal today. Let them know that Wake Up Call sent you, and we appreciate it so much. We're at that part of the show in hour number 2 where we have a guest that is no stranger to the broadcast. It is Dolphin Dive Come Early, as our Dolphin Dive inside of Dolphin Time is every second and fourth Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Well, this is coming to you earlier here as the team is preparing for the NCAA Division II Tournament. Moyne Dolphins women's basketball was chosen as an at-large bid in the East Regional of the NCAA DII Tournament, and they are the number 6 seed, which means that there's more life for the Moyne Dolphins come out of the NE10 tournament. And with that being said, I welcome back to the show Miss Mary Grimes, the head coach of the Moyne Dolphins.
What's up, Dan?
And there it is. So, Mary, very happy to have you here. Obviously, with me being sick the last couple of weeks, instead of being in Ted Grant Court, I had to watch, very sadly, from afar and not too far away, but I had to watch it online. I watched both of the games in the NE10 tournament, and obviously you going out of the tournament before the championship there. Just what you can tell me about what you took away from those couple tournament games and what you learned about your team in the Northeast 10 tournament.
I mean, I say it all the time. This is one of the toughest conferences in the country. I mean, it's really comparable to the top conferences in, Division I basketball, whether it be ACC, SEC, Big East, especially. Like, there's no easy game. everybody's competitive, and, you got to know that coming in. And that's, our tournament, it proved it. SNU got knocked out early, Pace. We got knocked out at championship, and, you got to come prepared to play every single game. So it's the parity in our conference never ends. But I think it was good for our team to experience that and kind of get a little sting early, kind of just, give us a little more fire to go into the tournament with. And thank you to the selection committee for seeing our body of work this whole year, and picking us for an at-large bid. So, it's disappointing that we lost in the semifinals, but I think it kept our team real hungry for the NCAA tournament.
And you just thank the committee for seeing your worth there and giving you an opportunity here. So just what you can say about the fact that, why do you think the committee saw you as a valuable asset to the NCAA Division II women's basketball tournament? Why do you feel like you were an at-large bid?
Well, we won a lot of games this year, and every game was competitive for us. We might have lost 7, but the games we won, they were huge games, and like I said, this is a competitive conference. So we did what we needed to do in the regular season, and then in our conference, and being co-conference regular season champions, I definitely think that helped. But the teams we play day in and day out are highly competitive. So, we're not playing any cupcakes. So I think the committee understood that, and, we're very appreciative that they saw that not only we are a good team, but we're also a great conference.
Yeah, and I was going to say that, to the point of the NE10, just, what this conference has been able to put forward in Division II. And like you said, you'd put it up with Division I conferences as well, in the women's basketball world. And just, to that point of the NE10, that not only did you play competitively and won a lot of games in the regular season, but do you feel that being in the NE10 also commands some respect and maybe put some more eyes on Lemoyne, knowing that not only were you successful, but you were successful in a conference like the NE10?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, day in, day out, it's always competitive, and there's no easy game. We play one of the toughest schedules in the country across the board, I think. From Bentley, they were ranked really high in strength of schedule. SNU, we were ranked pretty high. So I think all in all, we're very mindful not only of the teams in our conference, but non-conference games as well. Like we understand that we need to play a competitive schedule, so that we have opportunities across the board.
And you speak on Bentley, and Bentley is a reputable program on the men's and women's basketball side of things inside of the NE10. You defeated them earlier on in the season, 53-50, and then saw them again here in the NE10 tournament and lost 57-47. What were your biggest takeaways from that game against Bentley the second time around?
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so our biggest takeaways, I think it's something that for us personally, we have to just score the basketball. I think we defended well both games against Bentley, but we just have to focus and finish. That's been our mindset past few practices, and it's a leg thing, it's a confidence thing, whatever it is. But whatever we were doing early on the season, we just need to get back to that and just make our shots, and it's no secret that we got to score to win, and I don't care if it's by 1 point. That's all you need to win by. So I think, we just have to be mindful of that. Like, we had opportunities. We had second chance opportunities as well. At the half, I think we had 10 second chance points and ended up with 15 second chance points on 19 offensive rebounds. So we're getting opportunities. We just got to make those shots.
Yeah, and like you said, to gut it out, and it was tough to kind of buy a bucket in this last game. Was it? Do you just attribute that to just an off shooting night, just things not going your way, like you said, defending well, holding them under 60? But what was it offensively? Was it the wrong looks? Was it the wrong reads? Were people not being seen in certain spots, or was it just an off shooting night that happens?
Yeah, I think it was just the off shooting night that happens. I mean, there was a lot of things that went on in that game. I mean, Erin Foraker, our leader, our point guard, she went down with a leg injury, and she was out for me. It felt like an eternity. But within that stretch that she was out, we couldn't score, but we defended really well. Bentley couldn't score either. And, she's definitely a big part of our offense. And when she came back in, she got a steal immediately for a layup. It just showed to her heart. But I think, down the stretch, we just have to be mindful and score in the half court. That's pretty much what postseason play comes down to. It's like, yeah, we want to get up and run, and those are easy baskets in transition. But at the end of the day, it's what you're doing in the half court, and we got to be able to execute in the half court. So, yeah, just an off-shooting night. I think we'll be back at it again on Friday and be refocused.
Speaking here with Mary Grimes, the head coach of the Moyne Dolphins women's basketball team, you were cautiously optimistic going into the selection show. Bring me into that. First time being a head coach. You've been an assistant with this before, but as a first-time head coach, just what it was like this selection show.
I mean, for the most part, every NCAA tournament I've been to has been because we won our conference championship. So this was a little bit of unfamiliar territory for me. Besides, I think one year at Syracuse, we got an at-large bid back in 2007 or 2008. But, it's just uncomfortable because when you win your conference championship, you know that's going to happen. And now I feel like we kind of left it up to fate. It was really uncomfortable for me because I know, like, we did well. We worked hard this season. We're proven we can, have success in the tournament, but still there was no guarantee. And so it was the longest day ever on Sunday. I couldn't cook enough. I couldn't clean enough. It was a beautiful day here in Syracuse, but it just seemed like it just dragged. It dragged because the selection show wasn't until 10 p.m. So, got a lot of stuff done around the house. But it was a long day of waiting, and I guess that was just God's way of saying, listen, good things come to those who wait. But, so, I mean, I'm really pleased at where we're at. I'm pleased that, like I said, the selection committee, seeing our body of work, and I'm excited to move forward.
And for you, Mary, I know that, obviously every single game, all the things that the team does right and all the accolades and whatnot, I know you always say, that's my job to tell you because you're focusing on the game itself. So, what have you taken away from this year's team, and what do you think is still left in the tank when we look at the Dolphins heading into the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I mean, this team just works hard. They just are hard workers. I mean, there's balls like rolling on the floor. We're diving after them, so whatever game it is, win, loss, they just play hard. And that's the thing I think I took away from our last game is it was not for a lack of effort. They played hard. They got shots. We just didn't make them. And I think that's been us all season is they just play hard. And, I mean, if people are coming to me and saying, hey, love watching your team, they just play so hard, I think I've done my job, and I think we're a success.
And that's the thing, like you said, this team playing hard. I mean, have you had pride in this team? I know there's been ups and downs and around the corners, but you've won the majority of your games. You got some big wins under your belts. What can you say about, your pride in this group of young women and what they have shown you this season?
Yeah, I mean, anytime they're hit with adversity, whether it be COVID or, games canceled, games rescheduled, I think they just rise to the occasion. And that's what I love about this team, and even within games, I say, hey, guys, we're going to press. And they step up and they press. I say, okay, we're going to drop back in man. And they do it really, really well. So being able to respond, I think that's the most thing I'm most proud of is that, they just answer the call anytime I've asked them to step up. And I think that started in our preseason with our conditioning and what we did. And, it's kind of coming to fruition now.
And looking at this and at how the bracket is set up, for those that don't know, in the NCAA Division II for the men's and women's side, there are 8 pods, so to speak, of a 1 seed through an 8 seed, and so each winner of those goes on to the Elite 8. You're in the East Regional grouping, which is going to be at the University of Southern New Hampshire. So you're going to be in a situation where all the games are going to be played there. We have Damon, a school I've heard from, obviously, Jefferson, Chestnut Hill. You're playing the University of the Sciences. And then within your bracket here, you have in your regional Pace, who you know all too well, and Bentley as well. When you saw the bracket show up and you saw Pace and Bentley there, what were your thoughts?
I mean, it just it brought some familiarity, but I'm happy we're playing someone different than someone in our conference for sure. And I'm sure they're happy with that as well. It's it brings some comfort, obviously, and I mean, obviously, it shows that this conference is strong. That we got 4 teams in. I mean, that's really good showing. That doesn't usually happen, and I think it's just proof to, like, in the Big East, they'll get 3 or 4 teams in, and that just proves to how strong our conference is. So, I definitely take pride in not only our team but our conference.
Yeah, and there's so much to look at and look forward to in this. You're playing the University of the Sciences. They have a 23-4 record this season. The Devils will be playing you, like I said, in New Hampshire coming up this Friday, March 11th at noon Eastern time. How much do you know about the University of the Sciences? And I know it's been a couple days since the selection show, so just what your take is here, not even 48 hours later, just what you can tell me about the University of the Sciences and the upcoming matchup.
Yeah, I mean, we're fairly familiar with them. Last time I was here as an assistant, we upset them to go to the Sweet 16 game at their place. So familiar with them there. And then one year when I was at Xavier, they played them as well. So there's some familiarity with the team. Obviously, it's a little bit different than, 2 years ago or a year ago before COVID. But I've been able to watch them, and they're a good team. Good thing is they're a lot like St. Anselm, where they've got two kids that do the bulk of the scoring. So it's something that we've seen before. Now we just got to control those go-tos. Huber and Keys are great players, and we got to be mindful where they are defensively. But offensively for us, they play mostly man. We just have to execute in the half court. So, I mean, I think it's a really good matchup for us. It's going to be a really good game, and excited about the opportunity to play.
Yeah, and the fact that it's being hosted by Southern New Hampshire, like you said, having this East Regional and having the committee, NCAA, see that there's so much value in the NE10 to have Southern New Hampshire, Bentley, Pace, and yourselves at Lemoyne. Just what you could say about Southern New Hampshire and the fact that, this is a place where Lemoyne goes and plays. It's not unfamiliar territory, so I know it's a home away. I know it's away from your home, but still a place that and still an opportunity to be with some familiarity as you get set to tip off.
Yeah, I mean, Southern New Hampshire put together an unbelievable season. Congrats to them, and we're excited they're hosting, and probably little under half our team has actually been there because we played them at our place this year. So yeah. I think it's important that we get out there on Thursday. We're going to have an opportunity to practice on their floor and just get familiar with the facilities, because I always think that's a big thing. You're going into a place that, it's on the road. If you don't see the gym, how can you shoot in it? So I need familiarity too, as a coach, like where things are, where I can stand, things of that nature. But I mean, kudos to Southern New Hampshire. They've had the best season in, I don't know how many years, and the opportunity to host, I mean, it's great. It's great that it's a Northeast 10 school, and we're excited for the tournament.
Yeah, and looking at the fact that the top 2 teams in the Southwest Division and the top 2 teams in the Northeast Division of the NE10 are moving forward, 50% of this portion of the bracket coming from the NE10. Mary Grimes here with us from the Lemoyne Dolphins. Mary, just what you want to say to the community. I know you're playing in New Hampshire. Some people might be traveling out. Some might be watching online. Just what you want the Lemoyne community to know about your appreciation for their support and the fact that, obviously they have more basketball to pay attention to here in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, we thank you for your support this far. If you have time to run out for lunch on Friday, maybe go to a little local restaurant, catch us on TV at noon. It'll be a good way to break up your day this Friday at noon. And, whether you're coming out, safe travels, or whether you're watching on TV, we hope to continue to bring pride not only to Lemoyne, but pride to the community and keep playing hard.
And I know what I'll be doing at noon. I'll be locking myself up watching this game. So I'm excited about it, Mary. I'm so happy for all that you've done in this season. I said it before and I'll say it again. Lemoyne got a steal when you came in here and said yes to the opportunity of taking over this women's basketball program. So I know that you're in control of your destiny. I know that these women will come to fight. And I know that you and the staff will be ready for the upcoming matchup. So it's new life. It's 0-0. It's a new opportunity. What are you most excited about, knowing that this is a fresh start to a season, that good, bad, and indifferent, you now have an opportunity to go 0-0 again?
I mean, I'm just excited that we get to play. This opportunity doesn't happen for a lot of teams, and I think we're grateful for the opportunity, and we expect a lot from ourselves, but it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen across the board for a lot of teams. There are a lot of players that go and, they just hope and wish that they could make the NCAA tournament. And I think we're not going to take it for granted. We're just going to go out and play hard and, be excited to even have the opportunity, because it just doesn't happen for everybody. So, thankful for the opportunity and, just happy we can keep playing.
Final note, why is this Dolphins team dangerous right now?
I think we can score on many facets. It's not like they can, people can key in on one person. I think we have multiple ways we can score. And, we defend like no other. I think we're really defensive-minded, but, we have a lot of offensive weapons. So it's exciting brand of basketball we play. We don't, we don't care who scores. We just care that we score. So, we're excied to continue to play.
Coming from Mary Grimes, Lemoyne Dolphins women's basketball head coach, with more life inside of the NCAA DII Tournament that is getting started for Lemoyne this Friday, March 11th at noon Eastern Time. You can go to LeMoyneDolphins.com to find out how to watch the live feed. Mary, as always, I appreciate it. And I want more games, because I want more opportunities to say, "What's up, Mary?" So I got to have some fun with that. So it's always "What's up, Mary," but I want some NCAA tournament "What's up, Marys," because I might play those up a little bit different. I may get some unique ones coming out. So just be ready for them, and I want that victory so I can start playing with some of those.
There you go. There's some excitement for you. So we hope to continue to bring pride to Lemoyne and bring pride to the community. So thanks for checking in, Dan.
Absolutely. Always do your thing. I know you guys will be doing well, and travel safe and be well. And I look forward to talking with you soon, Mary. My best to you and the team.
All right. Thanks. Fins up.
All right. Take care. Fins up. That coming from Miss Mary Grimes once again. Fins way up for this Lemoyne Dolphins team as they get set for their opportunity at more life inside of the NCAA tournament. Very excited for that and all that is to come here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. When we come back, never before heard conversation between myself and ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips in a sit-down that I saved in my little time capsule from the beginning of the basketball season to be used today to usher in the ACC tournament. Coming up next, Jim Phillips on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Stay with us. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now.
Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbeville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jim Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. He kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Dan Tortora here in a very special wake-up call broadcast from ACC Tip-Off featuring the Commissioner of the ACC, Jim Phillips. Jim, how you doing?
Great, Dan. Good to be with you, and I like the title of the segment, Wake Up Call.
Yeah, it's the name of the show, and it's not just because it's a morning show. It's because it's meant to be a wake-up call, and the taglines were sports meets life. So definitely looking for positivity and using sports as a positive vehicle to bring people together.
Outstanding.
So you became the commissioner of the ACC at a time where there was a pandemic. There was the looming thought of realignment. There's transfer portal and immediate transfer opportunities, and NIL. So you chose a perfect time to become a commissioner.
I was promised some type of honeymoon,
yeah.
and any of those issues would be huge over a decade to have to deal with one of them, but to be dealing with all of those and some of those that you didn't even talk about, the Constitution and rewriting of that, and maybe a new 21st century model of the NCAA. But this is a time for great opportunity. as many times you hear of the challenges that face college athletics, this is also a chance to chart a course forward that allows what I think we all believe in at the heart of this thing, for a group of young people to access higher education and for it to be affordable for them. Is just a beautiful calling to me. It just is. Besides the GI Bill in the history of our country, there's been no group that's benefited greater by grant and aids, scholarships, financial assistance than student athletes. And so these difficult moments, I think, drive you back to the reality of what are you doing, why are you doing it, and is it worth doing? And all of those answers come back to the center being student athletes, and it's absolutely worth doing. It's worth fighting for, and it's worth finding a path forward that makes sense for 2021 and beyond.
How do you look at name, image, and likeness and what it does to the amateur model? Is there an amateur model anymore?
I look at it more as a collegiate model where young people are coming to school first and also playing a sport. The amateur model or amateurism, I just think, loosely defined. There's things that we're doing with student athletes now with not only scholarship, but cost of attendance, name, image, and likeness that may cloud that. So I like the collegiate model, but I do believe in the student athlete piece of it. I really do. And I don't ever for 1 second believe this is an employee-employer relationship. And others disagree with that. Yeah. But Dan, I'm principally driven that the mission in bringing these young men and women to campus is to provide them a great academic experience while also allowing them to play a sport that they enjoy, that they've been blessed with a gift of talents in that particular area, not the other way around.
You look at the fact that, keeping with the student athletes, the transfer portal allowing an opportunity for them to not only bounce from school to school, but to not have to wait a year. And I know the ACC and other conferences not asking for the 2 years that maybe had been asked in the past. What does that do to commitment? And does it diminish commitment in any way that you could go to a school and say, okay, well, I'm not playing, I don't like this, I'm going to go somewhere else? And we've seen some student athletes go to 3 schools in 4 years, 4 schools in 4 years. So how do you assess what the transfer portal is, and can it be a positive thing?
Yeah. So the first element to this is the freedom of movement in our country, which we all really enjoy. You have a chance to move around and be in this space and run this for a period of time, or you have a chance to do something else on a college campus, whether you're a president, an athletic director, a coach, a faculty member, a staff member. You have freedom of movement to go to another school when you'd like to. We have undergraduates not playing sports that are maybe not happy with their particular school that have a chance to go to another school right away and start class right away. So there's just been an evolvement of that, and it was time, and I'm proud that the ACC was one of those leaders in that transfer, immediate eligibility, and all the rest of it. All that being said, what you indicated is true. It makes it more difficult for young people sometimes to hang in there in a tough situation when they know they have the ability to move instantaneously. But it also allows them the freedoms and the rights that I just described. We're going to have to watch that, right? We're going to have to watch the impact that it has. I don't see it ever going back to not being able to be immediate eligibility, but maybe the timing and the sequencing of when we allow some of those things to happen, maybe we're missing something. There's that law of unintended consequences. I think it's hard on coaches. I really do, with their ability to project, how many young men and women they have in individual classes as they build a roster. But I also think it'll settle itself down, and the coaches that understand the importance of running a program that's inclusive, that has their student athletes at the forefront of the decisions they make, are student athlete centric. I got to believe that those are programs that you're going to see those student athletes continue to stay at and not want to move. But for those that aren't having as good of an experience, and sometimes it's an academic experience, it may not be good enough, right? Or maybe it's playing time, which is what you hear a lot sometimes. Like, I just want to go to a place where I can have a better chance to play. Or if it's just not a connection with a coach that recruited them, that again is, to me, should allow our student athletes to make those decisions personally.
You brought up coaches, and here at the ACC tip-off, you have Coach K on his swan song. You have Roy Williams, that it just kind of happened. It was done, and he made the decision, and it kind of felt abrupt, at least for me, knowing that I'm going to miss his expertise and what he brings to the table. So Roy moving on, Coach K going to be moving on, Jim Boeheim probably going to coach till he's 115, and then Leonard Hamilton and Mike Bray. Bray, I think 21 years now, and Leonard Hamilton about to be at that 20-year mark. Just what it means to you to have these coaches with this longevity with the programs that they've been with, and what it means to see Roy Williams and Coach K, two of the top three winningest coaches in college basketball history on the men's side, moving forward or having moved forward.
I'll take it maybe in chronological order, as far as who's announced their retirement, who's retired, and all that. First of all, I love Coach Williams. 904 wins. Nobody's won 900 games faster than he has. He's been one of the great champions of basketball, and as good as he's been for Carolina and the ACC, he's been even better for college basketball. And I really do wish he had one more year left. But I really respect the decision he made. You watched the press conference. I watched the press conference back in the spring. And he always said that he was going to move forward when it was the right time. And he felt like that was the right time for. So for he and Wanda, I think that was exactly the right decision. And we'll get a chance to honor him this year at some point, and I look forward to that. For Mike Krzyzewski, who I have a great relationship with, like I do with Coach Williams, I'm really glad he's sticking around for another year so that our ACC schools and college basketball can thank him along each of these stops throughout the season. Having had a chance to talk to both of them, they're both going to remain around their programs, and they're not going to be a hindrance, and they don't want to interfere in Roy's case with Hubert Davis as he takes over this year, or with Coach K's case with John Shire taking over a year from now. They still have a lot to offer. They have a lot to offer their schools. They have a lot to offer the ACC and college basketball. But you know what, Dan? That's the beauty of this conference, how good it's been, is there's going to be others that are going to come, just like the Roy Williams and some of those coaches that have retired and been in the Hall of Fame, Dean Smith, I should say, and then you moved on to Roy Williams. There's going to be another iteration, and we still are blessed with Coach Boeheim, and I think Leonard Hamilton's in that group, right, of great coaches, and I think Mike Bray, and I think Tony Bennett, right? So there's that next wave behind Roy Williams and Mike Krzyzewski that are phenomenal, and then there's that younger group that's coming along, and so it ends up being cyclical, and you wish coaches could stay around forever, but it is about that passage of time and the passing of the torch from one to the next. And so the ACC, in its 68 years of history, has been really blessed with some unbelievable coaches in basketball and all of our sports. And I know that that's going to continue. I really do. For today's moment, right, we thank Coach Williams, we thank Coach Krzyzewski, and we'll continue to lift them up and build off of the legacies that they've left.
Does Jim Boeheim have 1,083 wins heading into the 2021 season? I mean, are you for or against kind of retroactive, trying to take away history, I guess is what I'm asking.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard not to give schools credit. I think ultimately Syracuse will decide what Syracuse wants to do in that particular case. But I just know he's a Hall of Fame basketball coach and a Hall of Fame person. He's been great for Syracuse. He's been great for the ACC. I'm going to enjoy watching he and the other 14 coaches coach this year, and then I enjoy watching his two sons play, which I think is really special. Having two of my 5 children as college student athletes, I think that's always fun. I wouldn't have any idea what it would be to coach them. I'm glad I won't have to ever do that. So I'm happy for he and Julie, and to have two of their guys in the same uniform for the first time in maybe a long time.
You're a leader in the ACC, you're a leader in collegiate athletics, but being a leader in general to you means what? Because this isn't, I spoke with Avicolli about it, and she said, listen, we're not curing cancer and this and that, we're doing what we can, we're doing our part, but leadership in the world of sports to me, because Wake Up Call is where sports meets life, I feel like you stem out, and though you may not be a doctor in a room doing surgery, there's a lot from a leadership standpoint that you can do in effect, especially through the ACC. So how do you view leadership, and what impact can you have on the country as a whole, maybe the world?
So, Dan, I would just say this. Leadership will only be what you put into it and what you believe it to be. And I take this role so seriously. I didn't think I would leave Northwestern. Was very happy there, managing 536 student athletes and a staff of 250, 270 people. But this was a chance to come and lead 10,000 young men and women in 15 world-class institutions. What does that mean? What that means is supporting and advocating for young people through academics, through sport, trying to provide them the very best experiences that we can across our 15 schools in the time we have them, whether it's 1 year or whether it's 5 or 6 years, to make sure that we stay true to our values, that it is academically driven, right? We also want and expect them to be really great representatives of their institutions and of their community. So there's a social component and expectation for them also to stand up and join arms in unison over issues that they believe in, but also to lend a helping hand to those less fortunate, and then play a sport at an incredibly high level, the highest level you can collegiately, and to try to win and chase championships. And overall, it's that ability to do those things and get a group to follow you along that path, which I think equates to how good your leadership is or is not. And I think at times that ability and that understanding of leadership is really underrated and underappreciated, because I think we all know what happens when you don't have leadership. I think to what you've been doing with this podcast or with this show is the ability to shine a light on leadership and how it really matters, and values and morality and ethics. All of those things combined with others really are significant, and they're really significant when you are the leaders and the leader of young people who are aspirational and are trying to find their path.
Faith-wise, we spoke off the air a little bit about the fact that it's important to you and it's important to me. How would you describe how your faith drives you, and how does it affect your day-to-day, and how will it affect the way that you lead the ACC?
I'm not sure there's anything that means more to me. It's my faith in my family. I was raised one of 10 children in the city of Chicago. We didn't have a lot of material things, but there wasn't anything I longed for as a young person, because we had this great faith led by 2 amazing parents, and we had this beautiful church and community that you didn't need anything more. We had a roof over our head, we had food on the table, we had a place to sleep, but God was in our life, and it matters to me, again, as much as anything. It's something I do daily, make a commitment, both to be present in mind and in spirit. It drives my values, it drives who I am, and and most importantly, who I am as a husband and a father of 5 children. But how it drives me in my work, as commissioner, it drives me in a few ways: to have empathy for people, to be supportive of people, to encourage people, to be positive with people, be encouraging, and all I think that you want from a boss or a leader. And some people don't feel as strongly as I do about it in life, just like for you. But that doesn't mean that you don't stay just as committed to them when it comes to that. And you do it in the ways I described, and it may not be talking about your faith, Christianity, or whatever it ends up being. It's how you treat them. And I think it does come down to you treat others as you'd like to be treated. And we're in a period of time where there's divisiveness and struggles. And I think part of the deep responsibility that we have for others is to open your heart to them and to allow them to be touched by your presence, in the sense of that they know that someone in your role cares about them, deeply cares about them, more as a person than you do what they could potentially do in their particular role. So it's an interesting dynamic. It's an interesting time to have those kinds of dynamics involved. But I am so thankful that the faith that I have is so deep and so instilled in me by my parents, and what I've tried to do leading my life, that even on those really difficult days, I know it's God's will that whatever that happened, and that we'll work through it.
Coming from the Commissioner of the ACC, Jim Phillips, a lot more to have, I hope, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it very much.
That coming once again from the Commissioner of the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference, Mr. Jim Phillips, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. And I want to thank Jim for taking that time. And, I put that aside and time capsuled it, essentially, and released it here as we head into the ACC tournament. That was going into the season, before the season even started, for men's and women's basketball. And so we did that back in October. And now here we are in March, being able to show you this as we get set for the ACC tournament. So kind of cool how that was before anything started, and now here we are as things are finishing up in the ACC, or should I say heating up in the ACC. So a lot of great stuff going on, and I want to thank the Commissioner for being a part of it. From inside the Cafe Kubal studios, a lot of great stuff coming up here. We have our final piece of today's broadcast, just a few minutes after we typically get started here at 10:50 a.m. Eastern Time, with the ingredients to success. The ingredients to success, folks, with a topic and its ingredients every single Tuesday around 10:50 a.m. Eastern Time. This positive segment is brought to you by the positive people, an amazing experience you get at Avicolli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. It is the home of our Liverpool Warriors exclusive sit-down broadcast with their athletic programs, the student athletes and coaches, as well as administration of Liverpool High School, which is right down the road from Avicolli's, literally within walking distance, just a couple minutes down the road. So definitely make sure you head off to Lemoyne to support their teams and the Warriors. A shout out to the Section 3 Class AA boys basketball champions for Ryan Blackwell and the Liverpool Warriors boys basketball team, and a shout out to the girls basketball team and Aaron Chirac, as well as Mike Wheeler and the entire team for everything they did to make it as far as they did in the Section 3 tournament as well. So a lot of great stuff coming up from the Warriors, and a lot of great things to be had, including an all-new broadcast coming up for you next week on site on location at Avicolli's with the bowling team. So very excited about that with the Warriors, and definitely implore you to go there Tuesday through Sunday to Avicolli's to support local and support Central New York with their pizza casual side, their fine dining side, and of course their bar. And when the weather breaks and gets nicer, they'll have their outdoor dining as well back there for you again. with some awesome and beautiful flowers and everything around there at Avicolli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. So today's topic and its ingredients. Well, the topic would be control. The ingredients to success is, and when I say control, it's about taking it back, right? Sometimes we give it up, and I've said this before in my life, that I let people rent out space in my brain, right? I let people have loft apartments inside of my brain, and you can't do that. You can't give people loft apartments in your brain, right? Now, you can appreciate what somebody has to say. You can hear people out for what they have to say, but you have to have control of your own life. You have to be willing to take it, and you have to be willing to hold on to it. If you don't have control over your life, that means somebody else does. And whether or not you believe that, if you don't have any control over your life, that means somebody else does or something else does, right? It could be a substance. It could be some bad habit. It could be a person. It could be people. It could be a group. But somebody has control if you don't. So it is imperative and important for you to realize that, because if you don't realize that, then you're susceptible to being controlled. And I think in today's world, it's easy to be controlled by different elements and different things, right? We get caught up in a lot of stuff. There's a ton of stuff for us to look at. There's stuff for us to do. And so, we could be controlled by our phones. We could be controlled by social media. We can also be controlled by people. You could be controlled by the media. If you just listen to everything the media says and never ask a question. I tell people that all the time. Ask questions. Doesn't mean be a jerk. It means ask questions. It's okay to say, hey, why is that? The media's job is to present the facts and give you. They're supposed to present you the facts, right? And give their opinion based on factual evidence, but then let you decide. In today's world, the media tells you that their opinions are facts, and they tell you that you have to believe their opinion as fact and do exactly what they told you to do without you forming your own opinion. That's not real life, and it's not healthy. And, I think, on a ground level, there's the reality that some of us are controlled by our parents. Some of us are controlled by our spouses, by our boyfriends and girlfriends, our siblings, our friends. And so, that control, that somebody, tells us what to do and how to do it, jump and we say how high. The question is, why do you let that happen? And from here, it's what are you going to do to change that? So how do you take back control? Well, first you have to know that it's happening, right? Knowledge is power. So you have to know that there's some type of control that's going on. Once you know that there is a level of control that is happening, it is then your job to assess why it's happening, where it's happening, and then you have to start to take it back. I've had people try to control me in my life, and there's different things that you have to do depending on the situation to reestablish that. Some of it is very real. Some people are controlled by money, and somebody hangs that carrot over their head. Some people are controlled by action. Somebody gives them something or does something for them. It's the dangling of the carrot, saying, well, if you have anybody in your life that's saying, hey, if you go and be happy, or if you go take this job, or you go live here, or you go date that person, I'm going to take my carrot away. That should be a red flag for you, right? People that love you and care about you should not be dangling a carrot saying, do what I want you to do, or you don't get to eat this carrot today. That is a universal sign of control, in my opinion, the dangling of the carrot, right? If you do this, then I'll punish you. And so and that's very different than saying, if you swear, you yell, or you take my car and drive it into a wall. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you're being a good person, you're working hard, you're doing the best you can, and somebody tries to dangle the carrot to change what you're doing, right? Change your behavior. And I think that in witnessing control in my own life and then witnessing it in other people's lives, it can take on some very scary instances. So the ingredients to success of how to get out of it, right? Focusing on the solution, not the problem. How do we get out of being controlled? Well,
like I said, understanding that it's happening. That's step one. Step two is seeing where it's happening in your life. Is it happening everywhere? Is it happening all the time? Is it happening with certain things? And then it's about finding how to pull them back to you, right? If somebody controls you money-wise and they're a parent or a spouse, then little by little start paying for this. Start putting money away. Start taking those bills back so that when they say to you, hey, I'm going to treat you however I want to treat you because I got the money carrot, you could turn around and say, I don't need your money anymore. Then all of a sudden you have that freedom, right? And then that person has nothing to hang over you, which means they have to decide to be a better person toward you and to give up control, or they have to understand that if they seek to keep it, that they could lose their relationship with you. You know, I think, you know, if you're controlled by your phone, putting it down. You know, I read something recently of, do we control our technology or does our technology control us? Can you put your phone down? Can you put your tablet down? Can you put the magazine down? Can you step away for a minute? Can you have dinner without, like, getting the jitters for an hour? Like, can you sit with your family and have dinner without wondering who's texting you, who's calling you? And, you know, I've witnessed that in my life too. You know, family members who, whenever their phone dings and it goes off, they got to get it, 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 they got to get it. And it's like, you know, you want to just throw it out the window. You don't need to know who's texting you right now. You don't need to be, what if it's emergency? What if it's not? Right? What if this is the last dinner you're going to have with your family? What if the emergency is the person sitting across from you isn't going to be here tomorrow, right? And so it's imperative to not be controlled by people, by objects, by groups, by things. You have to be able to let go of, you have to be able to sever the cord. And I think it's really hard initially. I've realized that when something or someone is controlling you, obviously for them to be controlling you in the first place is wrong, and deep down somewhere inside they know it's wrong. So to think that they're just going to give it up when you go to take it is insane, right? What captor in any movie has you chained to the basement and then you go, I want to be let off the chain, and they go, oh, okay, sorry for leaving you here for 3 months. Here you go. Would you like a sandwich on the way out? No. If you're chained down figuratively or literally by something or someone, their intent is to keep you there. When? Forever. And so for you to take it back, you have to understand you have to be mentally tough, you have to be emotionally tough, you have to be able to let things bounce off of you, because you are going to be challenged. You're going to be challenged every step of the way. You know, no one who has control of you is going to give it up without a fight. And you have to be prepared for that fight, which means that, you know, I think I don't do anything without God. So, you know, I would say definitely you have to have God. You have to have faith. You have to have the intelligence of it. You have to surround yourself with good and supportive people that are not seeking to control you and are just looking to help you through it. You have to have knowledge, like I said, of it. You have to be mentally tough, emotionally tough. If you're not, then seek a therapist, right? Go and speak to someone. Go to a priest, go to a therapist, go to someone that you trust, somebody, one of your loved ones, a couple of your loved ones, whoever it may be. Go to a place where you feel sanctuary, right? Meditate, right? Clear your mind, clear your thoughts. Understand and look back on your life with this person and see kind of what their telltale signs are. What are their go-to things? What do they hang over your head like a carrot? What do they typically say to you to make you feel bad? Know what those things are. Anticipate them. Look for the patterns. Look for the habitual things. And when you see those habits, prepare for those habits. Because we might think, hey, we have no control and there's no way we're going to figure it out. When you step back and you look at it, even the craziest things may have some type of line that you can say, okay, here's what happens when this happens. Even if it looks crazy, there can be rhyme and reason to it. And if it is, it behooves you to know that rhyme and reason so you can be prepared for it. It's not easy to take back control. But if you don't have it, someone else does. And when it comes to your life, that's the one thing you can control, and it's the one thing you should. Can't control anything else, and you shouldn't seek to. But controlling yourself is not an if,
It's not a maybe, it's a must. Because if you don't, chances are, 99.9% of the time, you're not happy. So, seek that realization in your mind. Be honest with yourself and with your thoughts. And if someone truly loves you, they wouldn't seek to control you. And if they are and they truly love you, then eventually they'll let go. But it's not your job, or it's not your life to sit there and wait for them to let go. It's your job to take control today. It's not to wait for someone else to give it to you. It's for you to take it. Because it's up to you to live your life. Nobody else. And no matter what anybody else says about how well they know this, that, and the other, you are the one that knows you better than anybody. And you need to trust yourself. With that being said, those are your ingredients to success on Taking Back Control. Proudly brought to you by Avicolli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. Open Tuesday through Sunday for you. Make sure you get out there and enjoy yourself. Avicolli's today. I love their Meat Lovers Pizza and the Margarita Pizza, which you're seeing on the screen right now on YouTube and Facebook. I also think they have the best veal parmesan that I have had in Central New York in many years. And I would shout out their antipasto, their wings, their pizza. There's so many great things at Avicolli's. Make sure you go out there and get them today, Tuesday through Sunday, for lunch, dinner, and drinks. Of course, drink responsibly and understand that they are there for you on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. And for takeout, delivery, and catering, you can call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. And, of course, you can go to them at myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. With that being said, I want to thank you all for tuning in inside the Cafe Kubal Studios, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com, Facebook.com, and MixLR.com, all /WakeUpCallDT, and, of course, on WakeUpCallDT.com. Once the shows go live, they'll jump into our archives, like my conversations with Mary Grimes and Jim Phillips and plenty more coming up here today. You can see those by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, on Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Podbean. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Proud thanks to all of our Central and Upstate New York partners and beyond. Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Avicolli's, K9 Camp Dog Daycare, PB&J's Lunchbox, K9 Campground Dog Boarding, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. You can order from Ma and Pa's with all their kettle corn flavors, as well as their original popcorn flavors, their old-fashioned caramel corn, and so much more from any one of the 50 states by going to maandpazpopcorn.com. Pizza Man, Millhouse Market, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Victory Sports Medicine Orthopedics, Honda City of Liverpool, and Mother's Cupboard. And, of course, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the proud multimedia marketing partner of your... Dolphin Time, typically here for you Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. You got an extra dose of Dolphin Time this week with Mary Grimes, the Moyne Dolphins women's basketball head coach, as they prepare for their game this Friday, March 11th at noon Eastern Time inside of the NCAA Division II women's basketball tournament after being selected as an at-large bid for the East Regional with 3 other teams inside the NE10 conference that Lemoyne competes in. Make sure that you check out all of our coverage with Lemoyne by going to the Lemoyne tab and bookmarking it on wakeupcalldt.com, and also by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and searching Lemoyne on our Wake Up Call YouTube channel. You can subscribe to that as well. Wake Up Call DT, one word, is the YouTube channel. And, of course, every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, AD and DT, first and third Wednesday, with new episodes with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. And every second and fourth Wednesday, the Dolphin Dive, with student-athletes, coaches, staff members, future Dolphins, and or alumni joining the show to tell their stories on why they chose Lemoyne and so much more. Check that out by being with us every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, live right here exclusively on Wake Up Call. And, of course, you can get more information at LeMoyneDolphins.com. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the proud multimedia marketing partner of your Marywood University Pacers. It is Pacer Pride every single week with new episodes of Pacer Pride, our exclusive content with the Pacers, airing with Executive Director of Athletics Pat Murphy, student athletes and coaches all throughout each month right here on Fridays between the 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time hour. Our Pacer Pride specials can be viewed and listened to by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and clicking subscribe. And, of course, you can also find them on the Marywood tab of wakeupcalldt.com. Find out more information at marywoodpacers.com. Stratton Bobcats are here with us with Bobcat Buzz every single month. We've had a ton of specials with the Bobcats since them joining us as an exclusive multimedia marketing partner on February 1st of this great year, 2022. The Bobcats are here with you with so many specials that you can check out by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Also by going to the Bobcats page on wakeupcalldt.com, which is BSCSYR, stands for Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. So make sure you go to the BSCSYR page to find all of our Bobcat specials with the fantastic staff with the Bobcats as well as student athletes and more. So make sure you check those out today. And you can find out more information on the Bobcats by going to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. Here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, this is tournament week, and Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is proudly bringing you coverage of the ACC Tournament, the Big East Tournament, and the American Athletic Tournament. Stay tuned for all of the great stuff that we have coming up and all of our hopeful and fantastic conversations by the grace of God from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. I want to thank my guests today, Eugene Waldron, Levell Sanders, Mary Grimes, as well as Jim Phillips, and I want to thank Avicolli for the ingredients to success, a positive segment that we bring to lighten up your week and to let you know you're not alone every single Tuesday at 10:50 a.m. Eastern Time. Find us on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. And in the meantime, God bless, no stress, do your best. I'll talk to you soon. This is Dan Tortora signing off on the road